talkSPORT's Women's Football Show on talkSPORT 2. I'm Lianne Sanderson. Delighted to say Uma is back to chat through the rest of the WSL action from the weekend. But first, Uma, we've got some big stories coming out of the world of women's football this week, haven't we?
Do we have to catch up about England's second friendly? Their last game of 2025 has been a big year for the Lionesses, but they beat Ghana 2-0. Perhaps not as big as a margin as we would have thought, but the big talking point, Lucia Kendall, a debut goal for her. And also, how nice is it just to see players like that actually getting a chance under Serena Wigman, who we love, but we know she doesn't always give younger players a chance.
Yeah, it was when Catherine Batt was on the show last week. We were talking about, what Serena Wigman was going to, as we always do. And I love the fact that when Lucia Kendall also scored, Serena actually spoke about it in her press conference. She celebrated it like they'd won the World Cup. I love that because honestly, Uma, right? They did some stats a few years ago. I'm not a big fan of stats where when we score as women, like we don't really celebrate. Like genuinely, look at how many times you watch the men, they're going crazy. And it actually wastes a lot of time in celebration, although they add it on. When you watch when the women score, we just literally, I don't know what it is. Like whenever I scored, I'd always run faster than I ever did in a game. It was really weird. I'd sprint away and you'd have all these celebrations planned. But like it was so great to see Lucia Kendall actually celebrate properly, giving it the knee side, giving it the I'd honestly, because honestly, if you look now, you'll know what I'm saying. Like, we just don't really celebrate. I don't know if it's because we've not been used to playing like in front of massive crowds. So, like, you're not going to do a knee slide to an empty stadium, are you?
You know what? You're so right. And Lucia Kendall's celebration reminded me of what every little girl does in the playground when they score, or even little girls and little boys when you're in the playground. And even when no one's watching the playground, you think, oh, I'm going to do a knee slide.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great. Congratulations to her and congratulations to England. Some more international related news. We now know where Euro 2029 is going to be held, and it's going to Germany. Have you ever been to Germany, Leanne?
Yes, I have many times. I actually made my debut in Germany against Frankfurt, Birgit Prinz's side, when I was at Arsenal. And we used to go to Germany quite a lot when I was in the England under 17. But it was at a time where Germany was so much better than us that we would get battered every single time we played against them. So thankfully, time has moved on and the Lionesses are flying. So yeah, I think great place. They love women's football. They love football. And I think culturally, it's going to be fantastic. I'm sure a lot of the fans are going to be loving the beer gardens. I love it when you see them. I'm not a beer drinker, but it makes me wish I was because, when you see them with those massive jugs and you're like, oh my God. But yeah, fantastic place. And I like the fact that it's going to be in Germany.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. And like you say, Germany have got such good footballing pedigree. Of course, the Lionesses were going for a record third, or not record, Germany probably done three in a row, but Germany actually will have that home advantage, which will make them seriously dangerous. Let's move on to talk about, sorry, we did discuss last week, Russia Littlejohn from Crystal Palace has been given a five-match ban, and that's for the incident we discussed against Hannah Kane. It's been cited as violent conduct. Do you think that's the right length of ban in the end?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, some of the things I'm seeing online, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Like lifetime ban, do me a favor. Like some people need to have a word with themselves. Like I think sometimes in women's football, we have a lot of fans that are great, but we also have people that become a bit obsessive. And, Rucia's held her hands up from the moment she did it, and at the end of the day, we're all human at the end of the day. And I think, was that a fair? Yeah, but I just think people are getting a bit carried away. Hannah Kane didn't seem to have a massive problem with it. Her and Russia seem to have, I don't think they've spoken, but Russia said she kind of reached out. And I've seen from what Shaban and Russia show and, all that type of stuff. And I think, come on now, lifetime ban people are calling for. No, no, no. So I think 5 games is fair enough. I think 3 games was fair enough as well. Like, at the end of the day, it's a red card and Russia did wrong. I just think in the women's game, we're not used to this type of stuff. If this is in the men's game, like I said, Michael Keane got slapped by his teammate the other week. It was a red card, and they were doing a video on social media on the Monday, laughing and joking. I didn't see everybody saying about X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? So water under the bridge. Hopefully, Russia can kind of get some rest amongst this now. Like because it's been a lot. It's been a complete pile-on, which I don't agree with. But it's the world we live in right now.
Yeah, it's time to, I think, draw a line under that incident for everyone now. Let's end
Yeah.
on some nice news. Celin Bizet is pregnant, which is great news for her. Congratulations to her and her partner. It does mean, though, as Mark Skinner confirmed, that Manchester United are going to look to sign some cover. Any suggestions from you, Leanne, on who they should sign?
You know what? It's a difficult one because when we think about midfielders and we think about players like attacking players who are available and who would allow their players to go. to Manchester United. I'm not quite sure who. I think about a lot of players in the NWSL that I think would really suit Manchester United, but do I think they'll come? Not particularly. Do I think that like a Lola Bonta would fit into a Man United side? Absolutely, but she's not going to come to the WSL. So I think for Manchester United, they'll handle this fine. I think, over the years, they've had to deal with a lot of players leaving, and they seem to have brought in players. Fallon Joyce, after Mary Earps, Alessia Russo left, Turlan came in. So, they've got a lot of players that they've lost, but they've also recruited quite well. I still think, there are players out there that they need to be going for, but I think ultimately the midfield is in always a difficult position because who's going to come? You look at Akuni Cross that's now getting more minutes at Arsenal, but she would be great for Manchester United women, wouldn't she? But would Arsenal allow her to go to Manchester United? No, not particularly. So, look at Jenna Nicewanger. She'd fit in effortlessly at Manchester United as well. But I think she has to leave Arsenal, don't she? She's not getting any minutes at all.
That's an interesting shout. You know what? I can actually see that happening because she doesn't look like she's getting a look in at Arsenal at all. So watch this space. Let's break down the rest of the WSL results from the weekend. Got to start with Spurs Villa. Spurs beat Villa 2-1. I was at this one. Absolutely crazy game. Nothing was happening, and then it all lit up about 20 minutes from the end. Before we talk about the game, though, we have to talk about Jess Naz, who was stretchered off. Really heartbreaking scenes. And we send our best to her, and we hope the injury is not serious. Yeah, it's never nice to see a player go down, but I think I don't know how much that obviously, of course, it affects the team immensely. But the Spurs comeback after they then went down 1-0 to Aston Villa was incredible. I mean, Villa had gone down to 10 players. Oceana Delonde was sent off for a second yellow. Beth England, I have to pick out here because not only is she just an excellent player, went out, got the first goal, but she's such an incredible leader. I mean, I feel like she inspired the second goal, and it's just that experience that really shows through.
It is. And we had Beth on the show the other week, and you can still see her hunger, to want to win. We spoke about her potentially playing for the Lionesses in the future. She said her focus right now is on Spurs, you know, and can they progress and make the Champions League? And you need players like Beth England. Obviously, she was in and out of the lineup this year. They've recruited, they bring in players. I think you got also give a credit to Drew Spence as well. I thought she was excellent in this game. I know you were at the game, Uma, but I've known Drew for years. She was at Chelsea as a youngster when I was there. And, her and Sumanen, I think this year have been excellent in the midfield. And Martin Ho, obviously, what a job he is doing. What a job he is doing so far. Like, 4 wins on the spin. He's been fantastic. And to score the goal from Holt in the 95th minute against a side like Villa. Villa are that team this year that kind of up, down, a bit inconsistent. But as we've seen, they've got results against Chelsea, results against Arsenal. So, they're that team you can't sleep on. So, again, fair play to Beth England because also it seemed like if Beth didn't score, the team wasn't winning. I think they've overcome that now. But you have to have players like Beth England in your team that will run the channels, work their socks off tirelessly. And yeah, it is difficult. And we're with Jess Naz particularly because going off in the 70th minute, when you see a teammate doing that, it isn't nice. You have to psychologically kind of remove yourself from the situation. But then ultimately, after that was when the goals came. So as the game went on, I think Tottenham deserved the win in the end and fair play to them. 2 late goals, obviously. 3 late goals, really. Hampson in the
Yeah.
84th, but like the fact that Tottenham are staying in games now and they seem like under Martin, they've got a real good game plan. I like what he's doing. I think he's progressed the team on. And it looks like the Spurs under Robert Villaham in Robert Villaham's first season, when they're making FA Cup finals. So, yeah, well done to mine home, well done to Tottenham.
Yeah, it's impressive depth. And, what would you say about Beth England as well? She's been competing with Katinka Tamba the whole season, who's come in and been excellent. So, obviously Tamberg's out injured for a bit now. So for Beth England to come in and prove herself in that way, amazing. Also, shout out to Molly Bartrip. Toko Koga's got a bit of illness at the moment, so she wasn't playing today. She's been great. Molly Bartrip comes in for her first minutes of the season and absolutely outstanding. So, yeah, the depth at Tottenham at the moment is amazing. Man United just about beat West Ham 2-1. I mean, Elizabeth Turlin back on the score sheet, and it does feel like, Man United are at their best when Turlin's at their best. Of course, Shakira Martinez. I mean, I don't know if it's just me. I feel like we're seeing so many bicycle kicks at the moment. That's like the third in the space of a few weeks. But
Yeah.
yeah, don't know what's going on here. Did Man United deserve the win in the end, do you think?
Yeah, probably. I mean, that goal from Martinez, though, she's got 3 and 3 now. And we've liked her on this show for a long time. I remember last year when she finally got into the team, and I couldn't believe why she was on the bench. But it was a fantastic strike, wasn't it? Nice little chest. I know they were opinion a little bit. It could have been her hand, but I didn't think it was, and it was a great finish. And obviously, Turlin getting the goal, and then Janssen uncharacteristically getting on the score sheet. But I think Jess Park was excellent in this game. I think, Mallard is having a really good season, which helps. And Riviera, Sandberg, solid. Maya Letizia, like they've got solid performers now at Manchester United that I still think they need to strengthen. We've said this we sound like start records though, because I've been saying it for like 2 years. They need to strengthen and they never seem to. But, Fredina Rolfa, I still don't think, she came off the bench in that game, but I still don't think we're seeing the Fredina Rolfa that we saw at Barcelona. She's not coming like, set her stall out, has she really? Like I like her a lot. I think she's a top player, but I don't think Man United have seen the best of her yet. So hopefully they will do.
Yeah, and I think, like we mentioned with Celin Bizet, obviously having this news, it is going to force them to do some business in January, which they should do. Final game we should talk about. London City were beaten 1-0 by Brighton. It was a close one. Obviously, I think we kind of thought this going in. They're such closely matched teams, kind of in the same phase of their development, actually. Unfortunately, London City Lionesses caused their own goal, really. It was a bit of a mistake. Brighton did also miss a penalty, which was a great save by Elena Lette. What did you make of this one? It was a hard one to gauge.
Yeah, you're right, really, because I mean, you're seeing two sides that are very, very similar. Sixth versus seventh, goal after 6 minutes in that game. And the fact that London City were at home, Bromley, I expected a little bit more from them. But I do think, again, they're similarly to London City. I think they're in a space where you'd expect them to be, But a game like today, game like Sunday yesterday, sorry, I feel like you'd expect them to get more out of that type of game. But I like what they're doing. As crazy as that sounds, I think Asalani's been excellent. Goodwin, interestingly enough, like we obviously spoke a lot about her when they got promoted last year, hasn't really scored enough goals for me. Like I still think they need a little bit more from her. They can't keep relying on Asalani, and Freya Godfrey as well is having a good season. And you look at this Brighton side, I mean, they've got really good players in their team. I like Kafaji. I don't think she got a run at Arsenal at all. And Dozie as well, the goalkeeper. If you have a good goalkeeper, a solid core, then anything is possible. And Frank Kirby came off the bench as well in that game. So yeah, I think like they're doing bits, but I think it was hard to really say. It wasn't like a thrilling game, was it? It wasn't like the greatest game you've ever seen. But Brian picking up the points is all that really matters.
Yeah, and Chimaka Nnadozie is a great goalkeeper. She's so entertaining to watch as well. I love watching her. But yeah, like you say, London City, there is work to do for them, but that's us for now. We'll break down the last set of WSL games before Christmas next week. But for now, Leanne, that's me.
Thanks, Uma. Thanks for joining me. I know you've had a bit busy weekend going to games, working. So thanks as always for joining me.